Hello, welcome again to On the Mic with Mike. I am Mike Jarvis, and today, this edition, it is my absolute pleasure to have as my guest on the podcast, shall I say, the one and only attorney, counselor, Mr. Warren Cassell. Warren, welcome to the podcast. So glad to have you on board.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And well, you're very much the man in the news and the man who is the news, particularly referring to the recent appeal court judgment in your favor that has completely exonerated you from a previous conviction in which you spent some time, I think, both at Her Majesty and His Majesty's pleasure to sort of make light of what really is a quite serious situation.
Yes,
So
it is.
the record has been wiped clear. What's your reaction to this?
Honestly, my reaction is to God be the glory, Mike. It's because as a man of faith, believe me, I am familiar with what I refer to as the law of seasons. There will always be adversity, and the question is, are you learning from it? What can you learn from what you've been through? So I know there's not always going to be good times, and everybody, no matter whether you're rich or poor, whether you're Christian or non-Christian, you go through seasons. It's not going to be always good. There'll be like there was 7 years of famine. There's going to be 7 years of plenty. It's what you do during those times of famine that determines how you move forward.
I would suspect that one of the things that you have done during, to use that metaphor, season of famine, is to challenge your conviction. And in terms of jurisprudence, what are the implications, not just for you, but in a broader legal context?
Well, it obviously means that it should further guide judicial officers as to how to proceed, because one of the main grounds of my appeal was that the prosecution at the outset of the matter, at the opening statement of the matter, gave the jury a bundle of documents, right, referring to them. And I objected before they were handed them. They went outside of the room. I stated my objection, which was these documents they're not even in evidence. At the point in time when they could become in evidence, I can object. The objection can be sustained, and once sustained, they will not be given. So you cannot now show to them that which is not yet part of the evidence. It was just crazy. Made me to question the senility of the judicial officer. I could not believe it, and so he ignored my plea. I remember when I came out of court that first day, and I shared it with a Queen's counsel from another jurisdiction. He told me it could not be, that I must be dreaming. This could not happen, not in this world, nor in the world to come. So it just shows you, of course, it's going to be precedent. It should not happen again. Because I don't think it has ever happened in the history, or if it did, and the law is allowed it to go unchallenged, that would be sad. But sometimes you're just as good as the lawyer who represents you, or
Well,
your case is as good as the lawyer who represents you.
exactly. And yourself being an attorney working along with your legal counsel as well, I would suggest is testament to your legal capabilities as well in this regard. So, what's next now in the legal framework for Attorney Warren Cassell?
Well, honestly, I'm still meditating and praying about my next move. To be honest with you, but I'm just giving God thanks. I can tell you this: upon my release, Mike, and I'm not exaggerating, I was inundated with telephone calls from both Antigua and from Montserrat regarding legal matters, and I had to tell them, well, I'm not in possession of a practicing certificate, and therefore I would not be able to assist you, you know, in terms of for fear of them saying that I'm practicing without a practicing certificate and create more problems, But so it's not for. And the thing about it, I always tell people, when you become a person of value, people will find you no matter what. They'll find you. They'll find you when you become a person of value in terms of the work that you do. You just have to build your craft and get better at your craft, and people will find you. Even if they don't like you, they'll come to you because you can assist them with a legal solution. So I've had 2 years and 4 months. I've done more reading in those 2 years and 4 months than I probably did in the last 40 years, in the previous 40 years of my life. And readers are leaders, like that.
Exactly.
So to me, I think I'm a better lawyer coming from experience, because I've read books from cover to cover. I've read almost every appeal case, things, so I know I have my finger on the heartbeat of the appeal court. I know how they think. I know what may not work for them, etc. And I've helped a lot of people while I was here, in terms of their prisons were documented to draft appeals to do, and I assisted them. And I didn't I tell them I couldn't give them legal advice, but I could tell them what I would do if it was me. So I said, if it was me, I would have written a letter, and this is what I would have written. And they're free to adopt it. I'm not telling them to do this. That's not advice. That's telling you, and they're going to think, well, if he's going to do that, he's a lawyer. He must know what he's saying, so let me follow him.
So now, will you be sort of formalizing requests to get your practicing certificate? Is that what it's called back? Or would you now be more going into legal academics, to put it that way?
Um, a bit of both, actually. Yeah, a bit of both. I'm going to make my application. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I must let you know that during my incarceration, um, Antigua made an application before the disciplinary committee, the registrar of Antigua, to basically have me disbarred, to commence disciplinary hearings. And I had to laugh because it was during my reading down there that I remembered that a year before that, it's like I heard the Spirit of God saying, read this. So when I read it, there was a clause in a particular law that says that if anything is to be done as a result of a conviction, any procedure, any step, or anything, any proceeding to be taken, such step shall not be taken until 14 days have expired, or in the event of an appeal, until the appeal has been determined. And when I saw that, a voice said to me, that will become relevant for you, not right now. A year later, almost to the date, I got these proceedings where they were seeking to take disciplinary action based on the conviction. And I cited the section in an application to dismiss their matter. I said, listen, this matter is still pending, so you cannot take any step until the matter has been determined. I knowing fully well that once the matter is determined, that's it, because I had no doubt. I knew the matter from the time. And I think Vicky was the first person I told this to, Vicky Stormlock. I said, Vicky, this is going to be quashed on appeal, right? And I shared with her some of the reasons why, because she was with me throughout the entire trial, actually, at my side, taking notes, assisting me. Remember, I was not represented at the trial. And that was it. I mean, I was like, how come the registrar does not know that you can't do this until the matter has been determined? When I was released in October last year, I like to call it released from the gated community, the Montserrat Attorney General took a similar action to try and get me disciplined. And I brought in Dr. Dawson, and I showed him the section, and he raised it. It's now pending. So I don't even say much about it. It was pending because we were hoping that this could terminate, the ruling could come, before that. So we'll take it from there.
How significant is it? And I'm going to read from the statement put out on your behalf, coming from your, let us say, media representative, a press release that came out regarding the quashing of your conviction, as it were. And it says that the key points of the appeal included Mr. Cassell was wrongly charged with multiple offenses in a single count, and several rulings by the trial judge were deemed unlawful and unfair, rendering the jury's verdict unsafe. And also, it says that Justice Margaret Price-Findlay, delivering the court's ruling, referred to the matter as a miscarriage of justice and stated that the court could not be satisfied that the conviction was safe and satisfactory. And allow me to read just another paragraph here. The Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal has quashed the conviction and set aside the sentence. Furthermore, Justice Price-Findlay stated that the court does not believe it is in the interest of justice to order a retrial of Attorney Cassell in this matter. How significant is that?
Absolutely, very significant, very significant. Can you imagine? The sad thing about this is that there are persons who have suffered similar injustice, but sadly they do not have the resources to pursue justice. I did a case as well in terms of a gentleman who was tried here, and I argued the court has no jurisdiction over him. Montserrat has no jurisdiction over this crime, and the judge disagreed with me. Sadly, the gentleman suffered 4 years of incarceration, and then the judgment for the appeal came out, and it came out while I was in prison because I did the matter in February 2022. Judgment came out in like July 2022, and they said they agreed with everything I said and said the court had no jurisdiction, but he has already suffered the incarceration. What it means now is it's all about compensation.
And
In terms of, so you have to be compensated for your time that you spent, because when they quash the conviction in law, it's like as if it never happened, to the point where even the police record says from your date of birth to now there is nothing known against the person, because it's as if it never happened. It never happened. And so it's that is why it's important that judges are not infallible. I mean, judges are human beings. They make mistakes. That's why we have checks and balances. That's why the Court of Appeal is there. And the Court of Appeal, beyond that, there's also the Privy Council. So which is there are 5 judges sitting on the matter in the Privy Council. It's 3 at the Court of Appeal. And the fact that they were unanimous in their decision, they say all 3 of us we are saying this, that is also significant, and that is critical. And I hope people will have more faith in the justice system, because I mean, if you read the transcript of the trial, you want to know if I killed Christ. And when you see that a lot of people have been through this, they go through it, then they go to the prison and they come out, and that's it. That conviction follows them for the rest of their life. Whereas if you're able, through some way, and that is why sometimes I help people, because I know that particular case, the guy from Dominic, he had nobody here. And I helped him despite not being paid for it, because I felt it was probably the only case, it would be the leading case in jurisdiction, which is nowadays in the Eastern Caribbean, because I could not find, there was only one other case in jurisdiction, and that was the Yvonne Piper case, in which they said that the authoring the document was at the embassy in Antigua, and therefore the physical element of the crime was not present for Montserrat, so Montserrat has no jurisdiction over the crime. So it's just important in building the judicial tapestry here in the region, that sometimes that you actually challenge the matter so that there can be a pronouncement on it. So we are guided, judges and lawyers and prosecutors as well can be guided by it in the future.
And that is indeed a very profound statement coming from you, because even where you also said about your faith, or people should have faith in the justice system, according to the judge, a Court of Appeal judge, it is the same justice system that resulted or caused this serious miscarriage of justice. That is now being corrected. But yet here you are, and you're appealing to all of us to have faith in the justice system.
I'll give you an example, Mike. In Antigua, I remember there was a case, I was not involved in it. Dr. Dawson was involved in it, whereby in Antigua, if you owe maintenance for your child, the court gave you an order to pay child, or what we call child support or maintenance, and you have arrears. When they pick you up and bring you back to court for the arrears, the magistrate had this unwritten policy, this thing that she said, listen, when you come here, if you owe 15,000, you have to pay 7,500, half upfront, or you go to prison and then you make arrangements to pay the rest. Dr. Dawson challenged that, and the Court of Appeal said, no, that's arbitrary, because it has to do with the man means. What if he doesn't have the money, right? The court cannot force you to pay if you do not have the money. And the court said, no, you can't do that. That is disproportionate. So if I owe 20,000, you want me to pay 10,000 now or go to prison? That does not make any sense. And I'm just saying, these are the kind of things that happen. I remember one time I was in Antigua, another matter, and they asked the client. The client had another lawyer. He pleaded guilty with the other lawyer, and they fined him $15,000 forthwith, and $15,000 sometime later. And they sent him to. He paid the $15,000. He came to me. I said to him, "Listen to me. There's no such. This thing's forthwith is wrong. But hear this. Since you paid the $15,000 already, right? You should be paying the other $15,000, because it's possession and possession with intent to supply. You cannot be charged, found guilty of both, or fined, punished for both, because the greater includes the lesser. Possession with intent to supply includes possession." And the court agreed. And the court said, but wait, did she say forthwith? Are you still doing that? We pronounced against this several times. So subsequent to that, I went to court and a client of mine pleaded guilty and she charged him forthwith. I said to her, he has to be able to leave to go for the money. She said, no, they have to wait. So I said, no, 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 no. And I reminded her what the Court of Appeal said. I said to her, forthwith means, and I found a case that means as soon as reasonably practicable. Here it is when in the afternoon, the banks are closed. Where is he going to go to get $7,000 right now? So I said to her, he has to be released. And so they released him to go and get the money. I said, listen, you have just bring it in 7 days, right? And they waited and he brought the money. These are the kind of little things that as advocates that we are supposed to be. So oftentimes I see advocates sit there quietly, like I don't even want to say it on your podcast. And they're not pushing the law enough. We're not there to make things up. We're not there just to defend somebody for defending sake. There must be a basis in law. Mr. Jarvis, let me tell you, up to yesterday, I came back from Antigua. I'm on my phone. The immigration officer says, oh, you're not supposed to be in your phone in this area. Can you see the two signs? I said to her, miss, the signs are not the authority. The law is the authority. So if your sign said, no phones by virtue of section X, so and so of whatever law, then I could double check and say, oh yeah, the law does say so. But when you arbitrarily put it, the authority doesn't come from the sign. It comes from the law. There must be a basis in law. So you're telling me that? There's a famous statement which Dr. Dawson quotes from a case which says, a private person can do anything until the law says no, but a public authority can do nothing unless the law says yes. Am I making sense, Mike?
Absolutely. And I think what we are hearing here and what's being reflected is Attorney Warren Cassell, and I'm putting you in two roles, both as a legal practitioner and a legal scholar at the same time. So I think I'd raised the issue before. I'm going to go back to it now. Where do you go from here? I mean, is it a fork in the road, one or the other, or a bit of both?
Oh boy, a bit of both, Mike, and especially I want to actually encourage people and help people along the way because listen, sometimes I get even upset, even while in the gated community, Mike, when I hear I said that cannot happen. That cannot happen. I say a man come down there because he wasn't paying child maintenance. The man doesn't have it and he's still sent to prison when you ought not to be sent to prison unless you have contempt of court is when you have it and you refuse to pay. And until they could demonstrate, and sometimes they even subpoena your bank records to demonstrate he does have it, but he just refuses to pay. And so part of my thing is to having enjoyed and having been through it, to be there for those who might be going through a similar thing. Which is what I enjoy doing.
And the information, and you said you enjoy doing it because the information that you're sort of sharing with us here, I mean, this is in a sense solid legal advice. And you had a radio program in Antigua in which you were dispensing legal advice practically gratis, from what I understand, and a very popular program. And you also equally had your very popular Facebook Live, your Thai Talk.
Yes,
What
yes.
what is going to become of those?
Well, it's funny because I wrote down a lot of topics I want to cover on Thai Talk. I'm going to do Thai Talk and take Thai Talk even bigger than what it is. It's like TED Talk, where I eventually do an event like 4 times a year, on Thai Talk. And I think I started planning this. I want to have like Tyler Perry on the first one to talk about persistence, and also adversity. Those are topics I want to cover because sometimes you don't even know how I've done some things in Thai Talk, and people privately tell me, "Listen to me, you have inspired me, you have encouraged me, whatever it is." So it started off as just a little on a whim, and very with my business partner and brother for life, brother from another mother, Beresford said to me, Warren, the Thai Talk is serious. I mean, you're getting a following. Why don't you get a sponsor for it to give you the ties? Go to a men's store, and I did. And the clothing store gave me a tie for every Thai Talk to the point where now I have several ties because they gave me the tie Talk was twice a week, so they gave me like 2 ties a week. So I had a tagline that you'll never see the same tie twice. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
it's
we look forward to just initially right now those four things.
and
Your legal
also
practice.
hold on there,
Oh,
Mike.
there's more. There's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, you've inspired me to even do Thai Talk as even like a podcast in the format that you're doing your stuff. And I must commend you on doing that as well.
Oh, well, thank you very much. You should see this big, not even a smile, you should see the big grin on my face right now. And I
Yeah.
know you mentioned Beresford Matt, the great guy. Earlier on, you also referred to Vicky
Documentary.
Stormlocker,
Yes,
very, very popular with her Vicky Live on a Friday night, Facebook Live. She has been there for you. I think Vicky deserves a mention. And let me put it this way,
Listen,
I think Vicky deserves another mention.
absolutely. Listen, it's ride or die. She's my right. I think this morning we were speaking ride or die. That is the kind of friend that Vicky is, and I'm talking about sincerely, sincere. Vicky would tell people, listen, don't send them a warning because I'm going to tell them what you say. And she would comment to me. She would say, somebody said, she would say, so and so was saying this about you, and that's the kind of thing. And people will stop bad talking other people to other people if more of this happens. You know, you stop them, stop and say, hey, that's my friend you're talking about. You know, I don't want to hear it, kind of thing. And I must mention too, there's some persons I have to mention that during my time, I can tell you this. I can tell you during my time, there were friends like, apart from Vicky as well, the late Bennett Roach,
Yeah.
very, very supportive. I have my cousin there, Kevin West, is also part of Silkett, and her husband, and Loretta Silkett. I mean, I don't want to start getting problems because if I start calling names now, you know, like Dawn Davis, Lauren Fenton, if I start calling names, but there are a lot of people, they're more for you that are against you, Mike. And what is the thing? One thing is for sure, Jesus loves me. So even if all my friends even forsake me, Jesus will never forsake me. And that revelation means so much. Once you get into your spirit, because some people see you and say, boy, you've lost almost everything. I don't understand how you still remain positive. I'm so positive, Mike, that even when I did a COVID test, I wasn't scared because it would be negative. Uh,
Still the same old Warren Castle.
indeed,
I,
indeed.
and you do have a lot of people supporting you, and it became evident once the news broke, and myself and some others started posting it, and the reaction and the support for you is there, and I think everyone is really happy, and we want to see
Well,
you
Mike,
back
stop.
in
Don't lie.
action.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Everyone is not happy. Stop it. Stop it. I'm keeping it real. Listen to me. There's some bandwagoners. There are persons who would have distanced themselves as a result of the conviction I had, and you know it's and that's okay. That's human nature. But I'm
Yeah,
saying I'm not going to fool myself to believe that everyone is happy. No, they're not going to be happy. And that's fine. Everybody wasn't happy with Jesus' destiny and thing, but that is okay. You can't have everybody cannot like you. Everybody cannot
indeed,
like you, and, and,
indeed,
and, and that is okay. What is important is that you just remain positive and just become a better version of yourself daily, and that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've had some issues and stuff like that. This has taken a toll on even my family, etc. But I'm telling you, like, once I'm determined to become a better version of myself, that's all that matters. And once I maintain that sort of outlook that Jesus loves me no matter what, right? And there will be adversity. The Bible says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. The righteous are not people who feel like they're doing good. The righteous are people who have accepted what Jesus Christ has done for them. And as a result, they're covered by what he has done for them. He paid the price already. And many will be those afflictions, those persons who have declared Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But the Lord will deliver him from them all, not some of them. That's what the scripture says. He'll be delivered from all of them. And I give God the glory for deliverance from this particular matter. And it's the second time for the same thing. That's the upsetting thing. And I can't even get into you how this matter came about. I would tell you after here how it came about, right? In
wow.
terms of me taking a legal action against a certain prosecutor. And he said to somebody, I'm going to teach him a lesson. And that did bring back a matter from several years ago, right? That already been quashed and bring it back up. And you know, guess what? What they have meant for evil, God's going to turn it around for good. So I'm not even bothered because I was not built to break. Whitney Houston said that in her song. She said it about me. I don't know if you know it was me she was talking about. But I was not built to break. Mike.
Let's put it this way. The transition in this whole situation from being vilified to being absolutely vindicated. And you've just, in a nutshell there, given us legal advice, moral advice, and spiritual slash biblical advice. Now, we look forward to the next step for Attorney Warren Cassell, be it practicing attorney, legal scholar, Thai Talk host, uh, legal advisor in a radio program. We expect, Mr. Castle, we do expect. Thank you very much for taking the time. And I can't even wish you all the best because I think you're the type of person who will make all the best happen anyway.
And before I let you go, one last thing. I wrote a memoir. You are going to love it. I'll send you an autograph copy when it's published. It's called The Devil is from Montserrat. It is hilarious. I look at,
Wow.
oh yeah, I look at all the injustice I've seen growing up, the things that happen, things that we're afraid to talk about, things that we're afraid to talk about. Some of them are maybe simple things, but it's just interesting. Like as a young person, I used to wonder whether Montserrat women were not good enough for people to get married to. When I saw all the professionals getting married to persons from other countries that they would have met in at University of the West Indies or abroad while studying, and I even mentioned the names of all of them. And I remember somebody said to me, "Oh, you're going to go to university and you're going to come back with a wife from one of the islands." I said, "Never happened." I said, "If it's one thing, and it's not about, I'm not being prejudiced, it's just something in me." And I said, "I am going to marry somebody from Montserrat. If I even was to get married again, it would be the same thing." And I said to them, I'm gonna do that." And there was something I was, as a young person, I was like, I wonder what's wrong with Montserrat women, because I'm seeing Dr. So and so getting married to somebody from Jamaica, so and so getting married to somebody from St. Kitts, and I'm getting married from, And it was just interesting. So these are things that in my book I talk about. I talk about the fact that I've been to funerals, and every funeral, everybody says he's in a better place. And I'm thinking, no, he may not be in a better place. We don't know that. I'm not judging him. I don't know. God
Yeah.
knows. But it's not so. I said, how is it? So the chapter is called, Everybody in Months Who Dies Goes to Heaven. Right? It's a kind of tongue in cheek. You would love it, Mike. But it's, I
I,
wrote it.
I
I
can't
I
wait
wasn't there. I
to
wasn't
get
there
my
twiddling
hands
my
on it.
thumbs. In fact, I wrote 3 books inside there. One of the other ones I wrote was on, what do you call it? Was Before You Lie Down, 10 signs that the man you're about to sleep with will become a deadbeat dad. And I got inspiration from being in family court in Antigua, because I'm seeing um, deadbeat dads on one side. And then my follow-up book will be with the same title, Before You Lie Down, 10 signs that the woman you're about to sleep with will become a bad-minded mom. Because that's all I was seeing. Bad-minded moms on one side, deadbeat dads on another side. And I was showing you the sign, but you see the signs. So you should, if you want to have a child with them, you might rethink it when you read the book, having regard to the signs that I'm pointing out to you. So,
Well,
no?
we just added author to the list, and just to review that list, author, uh, legal practitioner, legal scholar, podcast host, radio program, radio legal advisor. What's next for Warren Castle? Made fantastic stuff. I look forward to the book and look forward to see you back in legal action. And as far as we are concerned, you never really left. Thank you very much for your time, Warren.
My pleasure, Mike. Thank you as well. Thank you.